participate in the activities too?
Well, we'll see. Don't make me jump, I'm okay.
Well, there's a running in place and breathing
I
through a
don't
straw.
know.
so
I walked the track
All right.
today, so there was enough.
You can be one of our helpers.
We're live. Okay, we're live.
We'll be starting in just a couple of minutes. Since we have a large group, can you please make sure your cell phones are on silent, please?
They're on off, right?
What?
Make sure they're on off, right? So
Yeah, I'll give them a couple more minutes.
And I'm now looking, it's like, what happened? It's like, I'm not putting my glasses on. I did like cheaters, I could read better.
Yeah.
Especially the minutes of the stuff it takes. Since it's so much to read after a while, I feel like I can't see
Yeah.
straight, you know? So
Oh,
I actually
yeah.
put them on today. Not that it works well, but it's better than getting another headache.
Yeah.
We'll start in just a minute. Okay, are y'all ready? Okay. The time is now 6 o'clock, and we'll call the meeting to order. Approval of the agenda. I am going to motion that we change the agenda so that the Fountain Hills Middle School will actually be the first district celebration, as we have a dancer in our audience getting an award, but she needs to be at the dance concert, so we're going to change that. Other than that, it can stay the same. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Hartman, will you please lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes for October 1st board meeting. Are there any questions or comments regarding the minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I move we approve the minutes of October 1st.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up will be information reports, and we're going to go to Dr. J.
Madam President, members of the board and guests, thank you for all being here. It's great to see a good crowd of students and staff being recognized. Just going to run through some things going on. It's a busy time in our district. We had senior night for our sports, fall sports. It was very well done. We had a parade through the campus. Doors were decorated for each athlete, and they had their senior award or senior recognitions at their games. We have our ACT exam November 6th coming up, and we do it twice a year so that our students can get a super score and compare, add each of their tests together. We're going to be celebrating some ACT scores here later today. We've brought back the catch-up room at the high school, so we have a Saturday catch-up room for math where kids can get caught up in their studies right before the trimester ends from 9 a.m. to noon. We have our first middle school dance this week, which we've been working really hard to get done, so thank you to we had Star Greco was a big part of that, and parents and Dr. Will Dreyer making that happen. We've got Red Ribbon Week going on this week at all of our schools, so a lot of red. Thank you to our Fountain Hills Coalition for that. And we have our 8th grade is going on a field trip to Arizona Science Center October 29th. We have at the McDowell Mountain, the Tar Wars. Dr. Rakowski is going to be doing his annual Tar Wars program on prevention of tobacco and tobacco awareness. We have our American Leaders Museum project going on in 5th grade, an ELA boot camp going on in 5th grade, and all of our sites will be doing a Veterans Day celebration. And Ms. Reichler has been kind enough to get the American Legion to come and help with that. We did that last year. It was really awesome. And Little Falcons Preschool had, they have their fall program on Halloween at 9 a.m. I spent some time there today, right when they were getting up from their naps. Awesome. That's all I can say. With that, I conclude my comments.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for Dr. J? Hearing none, we'll move right on to district celebrations, and we're going to start with the middle school. Dr. Wheeldriver.
Hello, everyone.
That's not on.
No.
Oh, hello, everyone. We're back. Okay, so I'm very excited tonight because our student recipient is Addie Schroyer. She's in 7th grade. And the reason why I have Ms. Reichler here because they have a long history together, right? Being her teacher and all things. So from her teachers, and well as from me, seeing her dance last night was amazing. So yes, we're going to get her out of here. 7th grader Addie is being recognized by her teachers as a positive leader among her peers. She has a bright and bubbly personality. Her classmates are drawn to her. She enters the classroom with a smile, greeting her teachers with a good morning and good afternoon each and every day. She uses her time wisely, making sure she stays on top of her academic responsibilities. It is very apparent she values her education. She is trustworthy, respectful, and very much a delight to have around campus. So, thank you, Addie.
And honestly, I have to agree with all that. I love this girl so much. Every time I see her, I get a big hug and a big smile, and she's just always in my face. Hi! I'm so excited. I'm so proud of all you do, honey. You're amazing. Thank you for being you. You're awesome. So you get lots of fun stuff.
Very proud.
Krista, do we have someone that can take a picture?
Good job. All right. Bye. I'll see you.
Best of luck tonight.
For my staff, recognizing leader, correct?
Yes, so she was unable to attend, so we are going to
We're moving
recognize
her
her
to
as
next
the
month.
October recipient in November.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
I kept her on the agenda because she's still October.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, next up will be Little Falcons Preschool.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to start with my Little Falcons staff member. And this month, I take great pleasure in nominating Lori Gonzalez for Falcon of the Month. Lori works tirelessly to make Little Falcons Preschool the best it can be. Lori has planned and carried out some wonderful service projects for our students, which we're going to continue this year. She has spearheaded the piloting of our Little Falcons Preschool Benchmark Advance, which is no small task. She wants to ensure all of our preschool students have the tools they need to thrive in kindergarten. Most weekends, Lori can be found in our classrooms setting up centers and preparing materials for our new unit. She has stepped up tremendously this year in helping me to get through a very difficult beginning of my year. I can't thank her enough for all that she's done. Congratulations, Lori.
you with Hudson?
Okay. Lori's had some dental work this afternoon, so she can't talk, so I'll read her students. The next person we want to recognize from our preschool is Hudson Miller. Hudson Miller, this is what Lori had to say about Hudson. He is a role model for his classmates and exemplifies the Falcon way by consistently showing kindness, by helping and caring for his peers. Hudson is responsible and respectful towards his teachers and classmates, and he has an excellent manners. He always raises his hands, waits his turns, and listens attentively to others, and then has a nice comment or concern about and a thoughtful response. Hudson is very responsible and takes pride in all of his schoolwork. He does his best, and when he is finished, he often offers to help his classmates. Hudson's eagerness to lend a hand in any situation, followed by his cheerful, friendly demeanor, helps to make our classroom a fun and welcoming environment for everyone. On the playground, Hudson takes turns during games and remembers to play safely and often offers help for his peers if they have a scrape or get their feelings hurt. I'm very happy to recommend Hudson for Falcon of the Month. He's an outstanding student, and I'm fortunate to have him in my classroom. Congratulations, Hudson.
Next up is McDowell Mountain Elementary with Ms. Reckler. It's your turn.
Okay, so I'm going to start with our staff, and I'm going to start off by recognizing Rod Hallfield. Come on up. So I've had the pleasure of knowing Talia for about 14 years-ish, something like that. We kind of started together, and we're going to stay together. And she taught both of my kids in 3rd grade. She taught Jared 13 years ago, Ariel 11 years ago, and they both absolutely adored her. And she's only grown more remarkable since then. She taught 2nd and 3rd grade, and now is just one of our really dedicated Title I teachers. And she's always ready to help. When I sit there and say, oh my gosh, she's like, what can I do to help? And she does. I mean, she's always in there helping me. And I really enjoy getting your insights. I appreciate you. This summer, she was instrumental in launching our CHAMPS and 1, 2, 3 Magic programs. And she's also started up a running club with Mrs. Sweet, Joy Sweet. And hopefully an agility club is coming our way too. And what I love most about her is her kindness, her sense of humor, and just all those things make her great. So I appreciate you all. Our student, and these are the words of Miss Tammy Helm. Lucille is a role model to her classmates. She is. You're hiding back there. You want to come up here so I can talk to you? There you are. Hey. Okay, so this is from Mrs. Helm. Okay, she wrote this about her. She's responsible and takes pride in her schoolwork and she always does her best. When she's done, she turns to others to help them, and her kindness is greatly appreciated. Lucille is respectful. She raises her hand, waits her turn, and uses her manners. Lastly, Lucille practices safe behaviors on the playground, in the halls, and in the classroom. And Miss Helm is happy to have you in the classroom, and I'm happy to have you at our school. So thank you. Thank you for being Oh.
Okay, next up is Mrs. Pinto with the high school.
Good evening. I'm also going to start with my staff member, Mary Murray. Mary received numerous nominations from her coworkers this month, and here's what they had to say about her. It is a privilege to work with Mary. She has proven herself to be an excellent educator, going above and beyond to make sure her students are understanding the difficult concepts of the higher levels of math. Mary doesn't hesitate to put in extra hours with Saturday school each term. She allows her students to stay well beyond the 30 minutes of reteach on Mondays and Thursdays, and in addition stays after to grade and prepare, and always goes the extra mile, including with push-up contests. Giving instruction using the invaluable skill of writing notes in math prepares our students for the next levels in college math classes. Mary truly cares for our students and not only sets her expectations high, she gives students the tools needed to succeed. Mary is an exceptional team player. She is happy to volunteer whenever necessary. Recently, while taking tickets at a football game, several former students approached her and designated her as their favorite teacher ever. Her impact on our community is indelible, and we are very fortunate to have her on our staff. Mary is a great teacher. She is always here late preparing lessons, grading, etc. She helps the students learn how to take notes to learn the material. Mary is almost always helping out at football games, selling tickets, or doing other tasks. Mary goes above and beyond in her classroom so students can learn. Thank you. And now for a student, Maya Hinton. Maya is a 10th grade honors student and a great example to her classes and classmates. She maintains A's in almost all her classes and can be found tutoring her peers in classes like world history. Maya is also a student in student council, meaning she serves her school and works to put on fun events like pep assemblies and homecoming. In addition to her academic and extracurricular successes, Maya is just really kind and respectful and deserves to be recognized for her quality character. She was also nominated by several of your teachers. Another teacher wrote, "Maya is a really cool kid. She is one who really takes charge of her own learning and goes above and beyond, combining the resources she gets at school
with the others that she looks up to. She always has a good attitude, helps others understand concepts that she has already mastered, and is great at thinking outside the box. She also asks questions that require critical thinking. Maya has consistently worked hard, and her diligence, consistency, and strive are what sets her apart from others. Congratulations.
Next up is the district office / transportation staff. Dr. J, will you be doing that?
Yes, I will. Our Ray couldn't be here tonight. Mike McElroy, if you could come on up and stand up here, be recognized. I'm going to read from Ray's right up here. So Mike has worked very hard since he's been in Fountain Hills. He started with us as a van driver in transportation. Mike expressed great interest in becoming a fully certified school bus driver. He has amazing personality and has many humorous stories to tell. That always puts a smile on your face. Mike is the co-worker and friend that is always willing to step up and assist wherever needed. He spent many hours helping with school consolidation as well as in the lunchroom helping out where needed. This summer, Mike completed all of his training and testing and received his DPS school bus certification card and has taken over the ASA 2 route that services Fort McDowell. 1, okay. The director's got it wrong, I'll let him know. I've spoken with many of his peers about his accomplishments and all agree he has made great strides through his dedication and hard work. I'm grateful to work with him in transportation. He truly deserves the Falcon of the Month award. Congratulations, Mike.
And now we're going to go back to Mrs. Pinto with the ACT high scores.
Yes, Madam President, members, board, and guests, I'm going to handle ACT, and Ms.
Okay.
Pinto's going to handle ASVAB. We're very, very pleased to share tonight. One of my goals has been, over the past few years, is to really celebrate the awesome work of our students and the success that they have. And we've been wanting to push a little harder on our academic recognition. So we've been planning this out for a while, and with ACT coming up again here shortly, that was a good time to celebrate our students for their hard work in the ACT. So the ACT exam is probably a lot of you took at some point in your life. You know it's a hard exam. It is now the state test. So that is what we get measured for in letter grades and growth and proficiency and all those things. We started last year offering the ACT twice a year, and we've continued that this year. Some students may take it more than twice because they can get what's called a super score and take their best score from each test and combine that into one score they can submit for college. As I was reviewing all of our data for our letter grade, I was just blown away at some of these scores. Like, they are amazing. So what we did is we invited any student who wanted to be recognized and their score read to come tonight. If not, we won't read those. And we have a lot because it's, we have so many kids in sports. We got swim, volleyball, dance, track. Is that track? I don't think it's track, but maybe some kind of, cross country. Maybe it's cross country. So just a lot of kids and activities. So we had about 15 that we invited, and I believe we have 4 here. So if you were invited for ACT, could you please come forward and stand up here? And I'm going to talk a little bit about you. well, let's go through. I just want to make sure I have everyone. Racine. Okay, awesome. Thank you all for being here. So when I share that, please kind of step forward, and I'm going to share some awesome information about you. So I'm going to start with Shannon. If Shannon wants to step forward. Yeah, let's give it up. Wait till you hear this. Shannon had an amazing ACT run here. Her composite, so just to give everyone an idea, 36 is a perfect score. And there's different categories. There's composite, math, English, reading, science, and STEM. Some of our kids are being recognized in one area, some in multiple areas. And Shannon, her composite score was a 34, which is unbelievably fantastic. Math, a 35. English, 34. Reading, 32. Science, 34. And STEM, 35. Unbelievable. Give it up for Shannon Green. And just so you know, I had to cut it off at 30. I thought 30 was a good number because that's really high. I know I didn't get a 30, so that was really high. But fantastic, fantastic work. Next up, I got Racine here. Racine, if you want to step forward. Racine had 5 areas above a 30, so fantastic. Composite of 30, math 31, English 30, science 30, STEM 31. Fantastic work, Racine. So proud of you. Next up, I got Maddox. Maddox, if you can step forward. Maddox had a perfect score in math, a 36. Give it up. Did you have Miss Murray? 36 and a 32 in STEM. So 2 super, but a 36, a perfect score in any subject area, and is absolutely amazing. And Maddox was our lone perfect score in a subject area, so congratulations on that. Very proud of you. All right, Gerardo, we had got a 34, which is an extremely, extremely high score, and his was in math, a 34 in math. Congratulations, Gerardo. Super proud of you. Next up, Griffin Boss. Griffin. Known Griffin a long time. Griffin got a math, a 31, and in reading, a 32. So 2 scores above 30. Fantastic, Griffin. And Riley. We got Riley here. And Riley got a 30 in reading above the cutoff. Fantastic job, Riley. Very proud of you. I want to share, I got all of you, correct? I just want to make sure I got everyone. I just want to share, the letter grades are coming out this week, so we'll be announcing that soon. I'm very pleased with the high school. These students are a part of why our school has had, for 4 out of the last 5 years, an A letter grade at the high school. Their hard work, their dedication really helps move the needle when you're looking at the overall success of the school. And all of them are very involved as well. Some are on my advisory board, some of them are in athletics and band and activities on campus. So well-rounded, great Fountain Hill students. We're so proud of you. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm going to jump in. You know I didn't get it. Mrs. Pinto is going to come up and recognize our ASVAB students. These are ones who checked in with us, so there might be some additional that came in, including the circle. Just to give everyone an idea, the ASVAB is a test that we run through our military, and we offer it this year. Ms. Pinto took it a step further. We've typically done with seniors. We did with juniors and seniors this year. We had great turnout, and it gives the students a lot of knowledge on where their strengths are as they head into college. They don't have to be involved in anything outside of the test. It's more just information to let them know where they did a great job. And just a little spoiler, we had a perfect score on the ASVAB. So we're going to turn it over to Mrs. Pinto.
Do you want them to come up?
Yeah, all your.
If you are part of the ASVAB, could you come up?
Yeah, thanks.
Come on up.
Gonna have some more keys.
Come on, don't be shy.
Yes.
So for the ASVAB, the highest score is a 99. And I want to start with the person that got a 99, perfect score, and that is Allison Garrett. I have to say, in the years that I've done ASVAB, I've never had a student have a perfect score, so congratulations on that. Our next person is Addison. Addison scored 86 out of 99, which is amazing. Kinsey scored an 84 out of 99. Shannon was up here again. Shannon scored a 97 out of 99. Racine, up here again, scored a 91 out of 99. And Maddox, up here again, scored an 88 out of 99. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for the hard work.
I just quickly want to add, we took our top 10 to recognize tonight. And one thing that's great about this recognition is this is not for a grade. This is not for, it's just, having integrity, working hard, representing our school, and giving your all in a test that really, you're getting some information back on. But to work hard and take it seriously, we're super proud of all of you. So good job, everyone. Thank you.
I'd also like to add, for our letter grade, the state cutoff for us to get points is a 35. So our kids did way, way above what the state is requiring.
Wonderful. concludes our awards. If you're a student or student parents, I'm sure that your kids have homework, so you can go ahead and be dismissed.
Excellent.
Nice try, Mr. Herman. I don't see any paper on your desk.
It's stay.
Next up is current enrollment. As we said at the last meeting, the enrollment report was incorrect, so you have a corrected enrollment report, which shows that we have 1,098 students. It was nice to see quite a few enrollments coming from all over. We have a lot of enrollments coming from out of state, and then the withdrawals that we have, most of those were out, leaving to go somewhere else, not in our neighboring district. Are there any questions or comments regarding the enrollment report?
The number that we were presented at the end of the year, was there a reason that there's that much of a change, or has it been that many
you have
actual students withdrawn?
Well, the end of the year report had the graduating seniors in it, and that class is bigger than the incoming kindergartners, so you're always going to have a difference there.
No, I mean, the first number that we presented, I think it was like 1122 or something, which is,
Well, it was
it's not a
counting-
huge number, but was that
It
a
was
mistake?
counting the virtual kids twice.
Okay.
That was the issue,
Okay.
and that's why the last report was incorrect.
Okay, yeah, I thought there was something
Yeah,
like that. Okay,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, and just to give some clarification, Tyler had predicted his budgeting number was 1010.
Mhm.
So if we stay around 1100, that's a plus 90 from where he predicted. That doesn't, that's just a prediction, but better than expected. So, yeah, we just got to maintain and continue to grow.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments regarding the enrollment report? Thank you. Public comments, do we have any public comments, Kristen? Okay, none. First up for action items is the personnel action. Are there any questions or comments regarding the personnel action?
The pay changes, were they due to anything specific, or like did you change the position at all, or?
Well, one
Was that
teacher went
scheduled?
from preschool to kinder. And then the PE teacher, is he just solely at the high school, or did he take on more?
Oh, okay, and I also see the effective date is kind of the beginning of the school year.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I can, with the preschool to kindergarten,
That was Ms. Rizzi.
yeah, I'd have to check on, my guess is that there could have been a lane advancement or something like that, or classes taken, but I don't believe it's significant, but I can check.
Well, and is there a reason that it was effective from 7/29, but we're just barely approving it now?
I'd have to ask Kaylee.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
And then I have a question. So typically there's one head coach for a sport and then assistant coaches, but for the middle school cross-country, it's showing 2 head coaches. Are they splitting the stipend?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding the personnel report? Okay, hearing none, I move that we approve the personnel report as presented.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm just going to abstain until I hear back about the dates. Thank you.
So 301, Krista. Next up is the intergovernmental agreement between the district and the town of Fountain Hills. Are there any questions or comments regarding the IGA? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I move we approve the intergovernmental agreement between the school district and the town of Fountain Hills.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next up are the internal policies, updates, GBK and GBK-EA staff grievances, and KEB, KEB-R, and KEB-E public complaints. The public complaints, the statement was changed where it talked about a notarized statement to state what we asked it to state, that a notarized statement or report will need to be submitted to qualify as substantiated, not to file a complaint. But if you want to take it a step further, it has to be notarized. Are there any questions or comments regarding the updated internal policies?
I just had one statement, because I I appreciate the clarification, but I'll be honest, in the wording of the policy, to me, it doesn't read that way. And so I think that a lot of people would take it as in order to even file a complaint, they would have to do it notarized, which I think to some degree almost discourages people bringing, especially with the threat that if it's considered falsified, it will be turned over to MCSO. I just would prefer that we maybe clarify with language in the policy that says that that's only if you want to take it further than just a complaint within the district, you know?
I understand that. I just want to share that we got the language directly from the Department of Ed and from their investigation unit, okay? I can definitely share that when someone comes to an administrator with concerns, there's lots of conversation and a lot of things are resolved without it going to a formal grievance, and it's addressed at that level. And then when it goes to that level, the administrator shares with them what the process is. I think what this is stating is it's just letting people know per their request that, and I wouldn't say request, but they shared with us that this should come to the governing board, that the statement or report will need to be submitted, will need to be notarized to qualify for the report to be substantiated. So we got this from them. It's not something we came up with. It's not something that we're bringing because we want to make a change to it. It's just coming from that Department of Ed department.
Yeah, I understand. And so if someone fills out this staff grievance form but does not have it notarized, are they going to be able to turn it in and it be treated the same? It's just not.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I get, you know, as a principal, you get calls from time to time from parents who are upset and concerned about what a staff member did or said, and that's addressed at the principal level. And if it's not addressed at the principal level, then it works its way up to the district administration. And if people still don't feel comfortable with that, then it comes to you. So there's definitely, those things are there. I believe what they're trying to say is that if you're making a report, like, you know, a serious report that is going to affect this teacher's possible certification, that they just want to make sure that it's a notarized statement, so that they have it and they can say that this is not, there's no mistaking whether it was said or not or what the grievance is. It's in writing, and then we can move forward with it.
Okay, thank you.
And just to add to that, I just feel that if someone's going to file a grievance that is going to go in someone's personnel report, that I can see where having it notarized, that both parties are aware, like, this is a formal complaint, and if, you know, you're affecting somebody's employment, if you just are mad and you want to file a grievance, you know.
I guess my biggest concern was actually for the staff grievances, and I just go back to when we had a large group of staff members that didn't feel like they could go around Kelly Glass, the superintendent, and I don't think that is going to happen again. I would hope not, but in the end, I would hope that in our policies, we protect our staff from feeling like there's going to be repercussions if they feel like they need to file a grievance, you know, and
we can't get into that personnel, but there were measures that were taken, so.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And the language was updated based on the board conversation from last time, so the policy was updated to include what we asked for it to include.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or complaints? Hearing none, I motion that we approve the internal policy updates.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so 3-1, Krista. Next up are policy advisory 792 to 798 and 800. We discussed these at our last meeting. Are there any questions or comments regarding those policies? Board member qualifications, professional staff hiring, support staff hiring, basic instructional program, graduation requirements, admission of transfer students, open enrollment, and the open enrollment regulation, and then administering medicines to students. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I move we approve, go through what, KEB?
No, this is 792 to 798 and 800.
Okay, because we did. Okay, 792 to the 798 and 800.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next up is Policy Advisory 799. Dr. Rakowski asked for wording to be changed in this document. Dr. Rakowski, would you like to go over the wording that we asked to be changed?
Sure, so we could start with policy JHD. Basically, the changes there, osteopath instead of osteopathist, since that's how they're typically referred to, and registered for nurse practitioners redundant because they're not registered, they're licensed, and licenses earlier in that sentence. So those are the two things to JHD. In JHDR, the next one, this is on page, I guess, 50 in our packet here. The wording is basically changed to make it clearer because health professional, as I mentioned in the last meeting, in Arizona law is not just a physician. It includes nurse practitioners and a whole bunch of others. So the wording here is suggested that appropriately licensed would imply that someone is licensed to treat people as opposed to other animals. So A and B, the wording is there changed, likewise in E, which I think would make it more clear. And then the same thing, the appropriately licensed language on page 51 in that sentence there, which is in blue on our copies. So those are the ones there. JHDEA, similarly, got rid of certified and appropriately licensed because health professionals are licensed, not certified. And removing nurse practitioner because they are a health professional. And that language is carried through the whole thing, appropriately licensed. And then JHDEB, similarly, the phrase appropriately licensed health professional, which includes nurse practitioner. So those, I think, make it clearer and consistent with state statute, is how it's described.
And thank you for doing this.
Yes, thank
Sure.
you very much. Are there any questions or comments regarding the updated language on Policy Advisory 799? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve Policy Advisory 799.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Next up is the Sister Cities Club overnight trip to the Grand Canyon. This will be for the Sister City program with Mr. Salzman. Looks like there's about 24 students that would be going on an overnight trip from November 7th to November 8th in the high school. And it's to show the Polish and American students the beauty of northern Arizona. Are there any questions or comments regarding their field trip?
And there are 3 teachers as well.
Yes, there's 2 chaperones. No questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I motion that we approve the Sister Cities Club overnight trip to the Grand Canyon.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 4-0. Next up, we're going to start with information discussion items. We're going to start with policy advisories. My page decided to go away.
66, 67.
Computer check doesn't work.
801.
Yeah, okay, here we go. All right, first policy is policy advisory 801, which is policy BAA, evaluation of school board and board self-evaluation. The language in this was changed. It used to say that the board should meet by October 30th for the purpose of a self-evaluation. They changed that it's now at the board discretion, and the board may choose to do it or you don't have to do it. So they updated that language. Are there any questions or comments regarding policy BAA? Okay, next up is policy advisory 802, which is policy DJE and DJER, bidding and purchasing procedures. Language was added to ensure that districts are purposefully documenting evidence for their verification process. It added that district purchases shall also be in accordance with 2 CFR 200.214, which is the Code of Federal Regulations, Title II. Are there any questions or comments regarding the bidding purchasing procedure updated language?
I appreciate that Mr. Hartman's already doing this.
Okay. Next up is Policy Advisory 803, which is GCFC and Exhibit GCFCE, Professional Staff Certification and Credentialing Requirements. The policy and exhibit were updated to include statutory language in ARS 15-509. So it added under the whether candidates are awaiting trial or have ever been convicted, they added sexual abuse under ARS 13404 or sexual assault under 13-406, an act committed in another state or territory, any crime that requires a person to register as a sex offender pursuant to 13.3.22.1, and a preparatory offense as prescribed in ARS 13-1001 of any offense that is subject to disclosure under QSYZ or AA above. Are there any questions or comments regarding the updated language? Hearing none. Next one is Policy Advisory 804, which is GDFA and GDFAE, which is Support Staff Qualifications and Requirements. The policy and exhibit were updated to include statutory language from ARS 15-509, which is the same statute as the previous policy update. Are there any
Do you guys know what prompted this change? Because it does have it already has the sexual offenses listed earlier. So is there something that changed that added these additional statutes in here?
The Arizona revised statute usually comes from the legislatures.
Okay.
I'm sure there was a case or something.
Even the numbers
That
changed.
broadened it or something, yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding that? Policy advisory? Okay. Next up is Policy Advisory 805, which is Policy IGA. Curriculum development, language requiring certified personnel to serve on a curriculum committee was removed due to the lack of statutory basis. They took out the section that says all certificated personnel have professional obligations to the school program beyond regular classroom duties, and these obligations will include work on a curriculum committee. We do have a curriculum committee. It is a volunteer program. Any questions or comments regarding that? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on. Policy Advisory 806, which is Policy IMG and Regulation IMGR, Animals in School. It says language was updated and clarified based on the Americans with Disabilities Act, ARS 11-1024 and AACR 1313-104. They took out some information. It says such procedures shall forbid the transporting of live animals on school buses that are not service animals, as defined in ARS 11-1024. They took out the section that says unless the animal is present for an educational purpose by written approval from the superintendent principal. So basically, if it's not a service animal, it can't go on school bus. And then they put in per the Americans with Disability Act and explained that the service animals must be under the control of the handler at all times. And then the regulation updated that to bring an animal into the classroom, they must have prior written permission from the principal, and the following documentation will be provided to the principal as appropriate prior to approval: the vaccination history of the animal, including proof of current rabies and distemper vaccinations, proof of the current licensing, proof that the animal has been spayed or neutered, proof of treatment for fleas and ticks, and current certificate from a veterinarian that the animal is healthy and disease-free. All provided documentation be kept in the building. And then they took out prior to granting permissions and just added teachers should check with the school nurse regarding any known allergies of students in the classrooms. They're not to be put in district vehicles without written authorization. They must not present any danger to a student or staff. and that the classroom must be kept clean and free of animal waste. And are there any questions or comments regarding animals in schools? Hearing none, policy advisory 807, this is regulation JLCDR, medicines and administering medicines to students. It says the Arizona State Board of Education updated R7-2.8-811 on seizure management training. This rule clarifies the application of SB 1654 regarding implementation of correct timelines for school compliance, required maintenance of proof of completed training, and appropriate publication of applicable resources. Because this is a regulation, it's technically an information only because regulations do not need approved by the board. There's no policy that has been changed.
I do have a comment on it, if I may.
Okay.
So in the first page under subsection A, the medication must be prescribed by a physician. In Arizona, other healthcare professionals can prescribe, so I have a suggested change in language if we want to talk about that now, or?
Sure.
So under A, instead of the phrase "a physician," I would suggest it's changed to "an appropriately licensed health professional," which covers nurse practitioners and chiropractors and other prescribing entities. That's in A. And then in C, same thing, the second line of C, the word physician should be replaced with "an appropriately licensed health professional." Then it would cover anyone who has the legal ability to prescribe.
Anywhere else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Because you're requesting language change, it will come back for a vote at our next meeting, even though it technically doesn't need a vote, but since we're going to change the language, it
Okay,
will.
thank you.
Is this the regulation that goes with the policy that you just wordsmithed, or is this a separate?
It's,
Oh, yeah, it is. Okay.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
so why this came late.
I accept it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? That completes our policy advisories. Those will go back to the board at the next meeting. If there are any other wordsmithing that you would like done, please let Krista know by next Wednesday so that she can have that into the new board packet. Next up is the ASBA bylaw change proposal consideration. ASBA is requesting a bylaw change. When they request a bylaw change, they give districts that are members the option to vote on those bylaws. So the changes, according to ASBA, mean that they would have stronger governance, more transparency, and enhanced engagement. They have provided the document with all their bylaw changes that they are asking that districts vote on. There's several different wordings that have changed. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding the ASBA document?
No, they clarified this so it would make more sense and be clearer to understand, so they recommend that we approve it.
Any other questions or comments? I'm not going to go through all of the bylaws.
Good.
It's an organization we belong to, but I think the board members could be.
Are those included in the board packet available to the public, or was that only for us? Okay, that's right. Yeah, so it's all available online.
Right. And it's nothing that we're implementing into our district. It
Yeah.
just is part of the organization that we belong to. So. Okay. Next up is an intergovernmental agreement, the Educational Enterprise Resource Planning with the County Superintendent's Office. Dr. Jay, would you like to talk about this?
I'm going to defer to Chris here because this regards our vision software.
It's a good thing I didn't let you leave.
Good evening, everyone.
You touched it, now you did it.
This is pretty straightforward. The software we use, thank you, Ms. Andre, reporting financial software where we keep all our records through Maricopa County, uses Tyler Technologies. celebration. But they sent, it's really, I'm not sure we have a choice per se, but they're obligated to, that's the way I read it, they're obligated to share with all districts their pricing for that year. So we fall into the under 4,000 students category. So our price for 25, 26 will not go up at all. It will stay the same. That's basically the gist of it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, that the county superintendent's office did negotiate on the behalf of the districts that they've been working. Our contract with Tyler Technologies actually expired, I believe, back in June. Yes, it expired June 30th. The procurement department worked with the county superintendent's procurement department worked with Tyler Technologies to establish a new 5-year contract that will extend from July 1st of 2024 to June 30th of 29. It says typically there would be a 5% increase, but based on their negotiation that all districts in the consortium will pay the same amount for support fees as they did in fiscal year 24. So, and the pricing for fiscal year 26 to 29 will be the Tyler Technologies standard 5% year increase. So it looks like it's just going to remain the same for 1 year. So districts of less than 10,000 students are $4,000 annually. And as Mr. Hartman said, I don't think we really have an option kind of mandated. So, are there any questions or comments regarding the IGA with the county superintendent's office and educational enterprise resource plan?
So this is for a program that we use to report to the county? And are we given any options as far as like, there aren't other companies that we can choose from, they just give us?
It's, and I'm not trying to oversimplify, but the way I read it was they do the negotiation on our behalf and then negotiate what, in good faith, they feel would be good for all districts. And
It probably helps them to approach with a wholesale.
yeah, reasonable, and the pricing does seem reasonable. They give districts time to prepare a year plus in advance for a 5% increase.
But it's like the Department of Ed, like, they're like, this is our program, you use it. So
I'm not, again, I don't mean to, I'm not trying to sound flippant. I don't think we do have a choice per se, but before they do request for approval before I sign it, more as an awareness, but in reading it over, it seems very reasonable.
Have we asked the county office if they have districts that don't participate in this, or if everybody does?
I have not, because especially for someone new, I absolutely love the software, and it's the software that they use, and we report to the Office of the Maricopa County Superintendent, so I don't even know how that would work.
Okay.
To use a different software.
All right, just curious, thank you.
are there any other questions regarding the IGA?
Are they going to come and train new people this year because it's technically a new contract or not?
I know they've been great with me. I can only speak from my experience. They're very accessible, both on the web, on the WebEx and coming out, and they're very responsive in answering questions.
Anything else? Hearing none, we will move forward. We have a regulation that's being updated, regulation IKF-R, graduation requirements. The board had previously, the board approved community service requirements many years ago. And then a couple years ago, we approved the senior internship as part of the graduation requirements. Again, this is just an information item as it's a regulation and does not need a board approval. The programs were already board approved. Are there any questions or comments regarding the updated regulation?
No, I'm glad it's updated because it clarifies exactly what we're doing now.
I also asked Dr. Jagodinsky to make sure this goes in the high school handbook because our regulations, our requirements were always in there, and I did notice that now it just directs you to the policy, where I think parents would like a much more simpler version than having to read the policies.
Good idea.
It's always good to direct them to the policy, but I think that people like it in layman's terms. Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? That will not come back for a vote because it's just a discussion item. Next up is a discussion with Climate Tech Bel Air, which I'm assuming that you all are from Bel Air.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Climate Tech told us at 2 o'clock they would not be attending. I'm not happy with that. I won't be mean to you because of it. But I'm a little disappointed. I've asked Climate Tech to come to 3 different meetings, and here we are again with no Climate Tech. So we asked you to come tonight just so the board could have a better understanding about the repairs that we have in our district. We have finance reports that just about every month they come through have large payments to either Climate Tech or Bel Air. So we just want to understand a little bit better about our systems and what you all work on, how you get to the point that you do. That's.
So what we do about the Allen Phillip Budget Act with Bel Air, we don't have a contract with Unified with Fountain Hills, so pretty much all our calls are on your guys' behalf. We do mostly plumbing and some HVAC. On the plumbing side, I know there was a lot of things recently with the food department, with some sinks and whatnot. I know Juan was working really well with our plumbers on that. There really wasn't a list, it was more of a communication between the two of them. I mean, I think it was Juan with Austin, and I want to say Daniel. On our end, we don't get anything until after the fact, unless it's something, that they know that's outside of their lines, they'll call the office. On the HVAC side now, that's more my expertise. The middle school does have some stuff that should be attending here soonly.
When you say the middle school, are you actually referring to our elementary now?
Yes.
On McDowell Road?
Yes.
So that's McDowell Mountain
Yes,
Elementary?
yes.
Okay.
We've done some repairs there recently. We've had some overtime calls for spray pumps leaking and whatnot. Some of the fan motors were not properly running, and that's where it would be nice if Climate Tech was here, because it would help them out as well. But basically, you have 4 drives that control those towers, and right now they're in bypass. So as we get into the cooler seasons, it's going to be hard to manually input and change the parameters as it needs. So as it cools off, those fans should slow down. And as of right now, they're just running 60 hertz, 100%.
Why do they slow down? Like, explain that to us.
So what it does is the loop cools down your water temperature, the fans will slow down. So they kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
As of right now, one doesn't know what the other one is doing. And that's more of a control aspect. But yet we install the equipment, and then Climate Tech will do their little control thing. I always think of the guy with the little impeller on their hat, it's a control guy. But that would be a really concern right now, if I was to put it in better terms, I would jump on that.
Okay.
The high school, we are waiting on some parts for the Daikin machine. Those are OEM parts, and they've been superseded multiple times. We know those were ordered a while back. I followed up with Daikin Veritech this morning, and no tracking number yet. So once they do, we'll receive that. And myself or Brandon will be able to, Dr. Kane and Juan. Juan's been asking pretty well about that as well.
And what do those parts do that you're waiting
That controls the refrigerant flow on your machine. So as of right now, it doesn't allow the refrigerant to flow in one direction. It's basically a check valve. So right now, when that machine starts up, it doesn't know what to do.
Right.
So is there compounding cost because we're waiting on that part?
No, it's just lead time. Just we're at the discretion of the factory.
Okay,
You
and
guys are
the,
alone as far as the school district or other property managers we take care of that OEM. For certain times, you have to go OEM, and this is one. If we could think outside the box, we would have prevented something that's wrong this year.
And we have 2 chillers, correct? At the
Yes,
high
you have
school.
2 chillers. You have a York, a YT, and then you have a Daikin.
So we have one running,
Yes.
and the other one, in a perfect world, when we have all the parts, they go back and forth, correct?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. So if Climate was, I can speak for them on that behalf, so what will happen is, depending on how they have it scheduled, your York will run one day, Tuesday, your Daikin will run, and then they rotate. Or they usually put it in hours, they'll put like every 5,000 hours, they'll rotate. so to kind of keep it the same operating time. Bel Air did have a PM contract at one point at the school for the high school. And then I don't know, it just kind of poof, faded away.
A what contract?
What does
A
PM mean?
maintenance contract on the
maintenance
equipment, which covered the cooling towers, your pumps, and the machine, the chillers.
And it's no longer in place?
No,
You said that was Bel Air or Climate Tech?
yeah, Bel Air Mechanical.
Dr. J, do you know if we have a maintenance contract with anyone?
I would think there's something, I know there's something with Climate Tech. I don't know exactly what that is. But we, yeah. How long has it been since we have not had a contract with you for maintenance?
2 years from what I saw.
Okay,
in our
so
portfolio for you guys.
at least 2 years.
Yes.
So that has not come to me, since that I'm aware of, over the last 2 years. We have had, I want to thank you guys for the emergency work you've done, because when the elementary went down, originally I was told 2 weeks, and I didn't sleep well, and then the next day you guys had the part. So I believe we have an extra part for that now, the one that we had the issue with.
You did not know more.
Oh.
That tower lost your backflow preventer
Okay.
failed.
Okay.
So you basically we ran the cooling towers dry. And in hand, that failed a pump seal. So we did have a spare one, which is used, so now we no longer have a spare
Okay,
one.
so I'll talk to Juan about that in the
Yes.
morning, because that was my goal, was to have one
Yep.
in the bullpen ready
So
to
you
go.
have one, your spare needs repair, and then you still have one on cooling tower, one alpha. That needs
Yeah,
to be
and I did approve moving forward to get the spare one repaired.
Okay.
So I did talk to somebody at Bel Air, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, about,
I think it was Brandon came forward.
yes,
about
to
this.
move forward with that, and shared with Mr. Hartman to get that approved. So Chris, if you could check back with them in the morning, that'd be great.
And that- go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna just ask, if we don't, this is maybe more for Dr. J, if we don't have a maintenance contract with these companies, and I know we're gonna check on what we have with Climate Tech, but do we have maintenance processes put in place for our teams? Because a couple of the, and I was gonna bring this up to you, a couple of the invoices that we have say things like initial inspection revealed that the filters were very dirty, and so I was gonna put that on you guys, because I assumed we did have a contract, and that was something that you guys would be doing. But
No,
if
so we
not
brought,
them-
we have now working with us, gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. Chris,
David Downey.
who's our former director? Rich Dobson, sorry, Rich, if you're watching. Rich has been great to help me with things. So Rich was the longtime maintenance director of FHUSD. He knows these buildings better than anyone. He was here when we built McDowell Mountain, which is the one off of McDowell Mountain Road. And he's coming in, and he is helping. One of the things he's doing is, I think he's once a week or something like that. He comes in once every other week. He comes in and he's helping Juan with that maintenance plan. That's why we brought him in, to know what inspections he needs, which machines need maintenance at what times. And so that is something that we have done. And he's been working on that. And on top of that, he's working on school facility board requests to try to get things that we've had to pay reimbursed through the school facility board, because he has a lot of experience with that. I'm more than open to look at a maintenance contract, but I will say that I have not felt that that is an interest of the board. So if that is, then that's great.
Well, I think that maintenance is an interest of the board, and so either it would need to be done at the district level, or it would need to be done with contracted, the company, and a lot of times, like similar to the field, that came kind of with purchase of new things. So I'm not sure if that's what happened with the previous contract, if it was under a bigger purchase that then expired, or why we let that go. But this is another one of the invoices, and it's the same day, I think, but this is a separate service. It said, confident that this unit was undercharged after the previous repair was made. Is that something that would have been done by a Bel Air Tech, or would the charging have been done by someone on site?
It's hard to say. I would say yes, but at the same time, it depends on who touched it last. Maybe they thought there was too much refrigerant in it and they could remove some. I mean, so that's kind of hard to answer. But if we did, then yes. But variations could have changed. The unit could have been dirty coils, so when you have dirty coil, we usually remove refrigerant to help the refrigerant process operate better. So we could have maybe done that at the time, this hearsay, and then once we cleaned the coils, or the district did clean the coils or change the filters, then that was noticeable.
So what are, obviously, our units are old and, you know, we've got the chiller systems. What are our options? Like, do you have better options than what we have right now?
No, as far as what you have for equipment, I think it's fine. It's just getting everything up to snuff. Like the Mount McDowell.
McDowell Mountain.
Yep, that one needs, the drives and the towers need to be cleaned.
The drives?
The VFDs, like the four
variable
fans.
speed drives.
Yep. I would really focus that. I would focus
Those
on
need
that.
replaced?
So that's like
Yes.
step one of, you said we need to jump on this immediately. Is that step one?
Yes. And then once you get into the cooler seasons, the cooling towers won't be needed as much. So that would be a good time to start rotating your repairs from 1, 2, and then back to 1A and 1B, because there's 2 towers, but you have 2 cells per tower. So you can start playing hopscotch, drain, clean, take all the scale out. I don't know if you guys have a water treatment plant out there. Do you know that at all? That's something that I was
Yeah.
out looking at.
Well, the conversation I had with when the last issue, and I asked for a spare part, these things were discussed with me,
Okay.
and I told them we wanted to move forward. And I did talk to Juan and Chris about getting that through, so we'll just double check on where we're at with that process. But that was explained to me that those are priorities.
Yes.
And then I want to say at the time, we had the spare part, and then we were going to repair another one so that we had that one always as a spare in case, because it was hard to find
Yes.
find that part. So we'll have to reorder another backup now that that's come through, so, yeah. So I think we're on the same page. I just need to make sure where Juan's at with getting the procurement and all that to Chris so he can approve it. But Chris and I talked about approving it, just so we don't have any disruptions with the campuses.
Yeah, and you could more or less use the same water treatment company at the high school for Fort McDowell. Because they have cooling towers, different cooling towers, but still the same principle. So there's water treatment at the high school. You could have that company facilitate the water treatment at McDowell. Yes.
And these spare parts, are they new parts that we're getting, or are they remanufactured parts?
You have one new part, and we're gonna repair that one, so you'll have a brand new pump.
Okay, so those, the drives replaced at McDowell Mountain and the
Yep.
towers cleaned.
Yes,
That's your recommendation for maintenance there?
yes, that will.
And what about the high school, middle, the campus here?
High school, I just know of the check valves as of right now. Everything else that we've been out there, I kind of did a little scouring through you guys' portfolio of the school district. I didn't see no red flags out other than the waiting on the permits.
Yeah, the check valves are what we're waiting on from.
Yes, yes.
Have they been paid for and we're just waiting for them? They're completely ordered and we're just
I
waiting?
don't think, no billing has been out yet. So
Okay.
as of right now, we're absorbing the cost on purchasing, and once we're receiving, then the work is done, then we'll bill.
And how many check valves are we waiting for?
2.
And I know you said we don't have a contract with you, so it's basically just when we need you, we call you out, is that
Yes.
correct? And do you know what your cost per hour is?
I believe your school district is at 121?
21, and is that just standard, or is
Standard,
that
that's,
overtime?
That's straight rate, and then our overtime is 1.5 of that, and Sunday's a double time.
So 1.5, so it would be about 180, and then Sunday would be 240.
Yes.
And,
What's the contracted rate, like for, if you have a contract, how much does it drop it?
See, and that's where, with Bel Air, since we're private, we can, depending on the contract, we can lower the rates by $98 an hour. If you're saying, hey, you really want to be extensive on all this equipment, we can lower our cost hourly rate to accommodate more of the equipment versus A through Z, and then we It just really, it varies, but I mean,
What does the contract entail?
that's up to you guys' discretion on what you guys would like to have, as far as quarterly, monthly.
And that includes the maintenance, does the contract encompass maintenance too? That, there would be a fee for the maintenance or is it just?
There's probably some kind of like guarantee of the services that you do.
Well, typically what we've done with like Litchfield and whatnot is we do quarterly inspections, and if there's anything we find, then we recommend that, and then the central plants is, we try making it very clean, so that there's no cost up front on buying parts or whatnot, and we leave that to your guys' discretion on choosing what you feel to be repaired and whatnot.
I see. Okay. Well, I appreciate that you've answered a lot of our questions. Like I said, I wish Climate Tech were here so that we could kind of bounce things, because I think there are questions that we have for Climate Tech that maybe they could have added some information that may have given us more questions to ask for you. So I appreciate the executive board meeting. Unfortunately, they didn't come, so that kind of stifled our discussion a little bit. Do you have more questions?
If I'm not mistaken, Chris, didn't you share that Climate Tech, there was a contract agreement, like that was part of the original plan?
For Climate Tech?
Yes.
Yeah, but not, I don't believe.
Okay, so there is some kind of contract, like contracted work of inspections and
Yeah,
maintenance.
they're the only people that can monitor.
There it is.
Well, I remember when I
Yes.
looked up the chiller
Right.
or whatever it was, it's made by Climate Tech, it's sold by Climate Tech. So I know that there's gonna be some, I would love to see that contract that we have, the
Yes,
agreement that
please
we
send
have.
that to the board.
And then, it seems like you work kind of hand in hand with Climate Tech,
Yes,
or are you guys
we have a great
competing
relationship
companies?
with them, yes.
Okay, so you're not competing companies?
No,
Okay, so we could maintain a maintenance contract with both companies, and it would probably help us out on our
Yes.
costs when it comes to Bel Air.
Mhm.
Because I'll be honest, I think we pay you guys way too much for the work, but it's also because our machines are in such bad repair, so I understand that there's.
I
work
think
to
your
do.
hourly wage is fair, so I'm going to disagree with that, because I work with a lot of
I think we
AC
just use them too much.
I work with a lot of AC guys, so I think your hourly wage
our
is
competition
very
is
fair.
over $200 an hour straight rate.
Correct. Because my husband's a pool guy and he charges more per hour, so.
Yeah, but I just, again, I want to be clear though, that we don't have anyone on staff that can work on this equipment. I mean, it's just not, it's not an option,
I think
so.
that might be one of the reasons to maybe get a maintenance contract.
Yeah,
Because if we
I-
don't have staff changing filters, and that's the reason that we're spending almost $600 for a emergency visit, I think that, it'd be better to have a contract for those.
I would be,
things taken care of.
I would like to see
yeah.
Climate Tech's contract. I want to say there was something about the quarterly maintenance, but I could be mistaken. So I would like to see their contract, because if so, I would like to, a report as to when they've done that and whatnot. So we want to rein this in and make sure that the units are getting taken care of, because obviously maintaining and repairing at this point is pretty much our only option as opposed to replacing. So
And is there a way that we can, similar to like when you would do like a house repair, or if you were doing like a big investment with a business, is there a way for us to set a budget for what we can afford as far as replacement and maintenance, and ask these companies to give us what we need to do as far as priorities and what would fit in that budget every year? Because like I said, I don't think that we have a plan for replacement in place, but we're at a place where we're needing replacements. And so at some point, that discussion has to happen where those things are going to be addressed, because I think we're going to have to.
do you feel that they need replaced?
As far as what?
Either school.
Cooling towers at the McDowell Mountain, I would say, put that into a budget.
In what kind of time frame? Because you said clean them, but replace them in about how long?
Well, there's a lot of scale in the towers, so depending on how the cleaning goes, that will dictate how bad the cancer is as far as the metal condition. And sometimes that can be refurbished, epoxy coated, but you're just putting Band-Aids on bullet holes.
So those need replaced. What about the rest of the system?
Most of your units inside like a school are all fan control units, water versus heat pumps, so those, you can go as pleased. They're not, if anything, they're gonna most of them are, I would say, from my past experience in there, as a technician, they're in hallways. So it's not like you're gonna instruct the classroom, but you can do this as they come. Like, I wouldn't, if you wanted to put a budget aside, I could look into the tonnage, and we could, as far as the age, pumps are kind of, those are ones that you need to keep an eye on, because pumps do fail, especially with the water conditions out here. The impellers over time will thin out the brass, so it's hard to find parts for those. And I would leave that to manufacturers' fault. And we manufacture so much for so long, and then want you to buy new.
Right.
There are some things that we can do as a mechanical contractor to minimize the cost. We can have machine companies make things for us. Then again, we're at the mercy of time frame. So if it's an emergency, how bad do you want to pay?
Right. No.
But there's always a fix. But the towers, I would say, that would be my biggest concern as far as looking at.
And any idea, an estimate of what that might cost?
We won't put you on the spot.
No,
but if you can send something
if we
to
had
us.
to right now, I would say we work with two really good contractors. They could really look at it and say, hey, this is what we really recommend. Because as a mechanic contractor, we just want to replace everything.
Well, we'd like to see their recommendations,
Okay.
so you can work with Juan on getting us an estimate. That would be
Okay.
good. It's
Yeah.
nothing
Good idea.
that's gonna happen right this minute, because
We
we
can
don't
put
have
the
the
ball in motion
finances.
because
But
the line
to
getting
know
long.
what we're up against.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and if we had some kind of timeline, almost like the Gordian report, where it kind of gave us like, this needs to be done within this amount of time, and this needs to be done as, not just for like triage of the problems, but also as far as maintenance goes, if we kind of knew, hey, we need to check these filters every so often, and had that in place for our staff as well as for the contracted companies, I think that would be very helpful. What was your name?
Philip.
Philip, thank you so much.
Good, thank you.
I have a question too.
Go ahead.
So if we get a maintenance agreement with you, I gather the idea is to lessen the chance of emergency repairs, but if there is an emergency, would that be covered in the maintenance agreement, then that would still be separate?
Typically not, no.
Still be separate,
Do we get
okay.
any kind of break on it,
Yeah.
or is it still?
Well, like I said, depending on what we do with the contract, we can negotiate the price out of it.
Okay.
Are there questions from any other board members?
No, thank you.
I would definitely like to see this brought back, though,
I
like
agree.
the contracts and
I
options
still
that we
want to
have.
see climate
Yeah.
tech before us.
And then
Absolutely.
on the repair, I did do a little homework. There is some, is Fountain Hills a nonprofit?
Where-
The school district.
Because there are some tax rebates and stuff for that kind of stuff, for repairs.
Okay.
I did do a little homework and printed out a bunch of pamphlets for you guys in case that would be helpful.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
can give those to Mr. Hartman right there. That's our finance director, and
Okay.
and then he can share
And
them.
you get energy efficiency equipment,
Right,
Right.
something like that.
yeah, the federal ends.
Yeah,
Right.
it's no money in your pocket.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Great,
That's
thank
excellent.
you for sitting through our board meeting and answering all of our questions.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
If you have homework, you can be excused too.
Homework here. We'll finish it off.
All right, future action, the sped presentation. I did not receive questions from any other board members, but I did send Ms. Gleason some of my questions, so she's working with Krista on a date for the sped presentation. And then after the new board is installed, strategies to boost enrollment and club policies will be brought on the agenda.
Oh, I wanted to request that we have a discussion on our discipline policies, specifically when it comes to threats made to the school staff or other students. Because especially since like the letter that Dr. Jason Outlet seems to be trending, I think that we should answer with a strong response here. And then I would also ask you and Dr. J to maybe reconsider us discussing the ESA funds, since there was an article about that in the Arizona Central that I think might change the minds. Thank
Okay.
you.
The discipline policies, do you want that brought within the next 2 months, or would you rather wait till the new board comes on?
The next 2 months would be fine.
Okay, ESA funds, I'm going to defer to the new board. My mind's not going to change, so.
Mine isn't either.
So I would rather you discuss that with the new board.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
That's okay, thank you.
Okay, dates of upcoming meetings, November 6th and November 20th, both here in the Learning Center at 6 p.m. And with that,
Time would be adjourned.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any